Well, you've released 2 albums, Netsky, the first one in 2010, then in 2012 you released 2.
Yeah.
I can ask why you named the album 2, but it's obvious, of course, isn't it?
There's loads of reasons, but
Okay.
there's so much artists, big, huge artists in the 60s that made like 10 albums, like named 1 to 10. So that kind of backed me up. But I think for me it was really about trying to like find the name that really didn't make it like a huge story or a red line through an album. I just wanted to have a story for each song, and as I made every song like a different part of the world sometimes as well, I didn't really find there was an appropriate name for an album, and I found that like a lot of times. I just like a listening experience and finding a story behind every track, but I couldn't find a good name to like combine all the tracks on that album, maybe for a next album, but not for the album.
How come? Because you are moving around a lot, is that because?
I think so, yeah. Yeah.
Is it hard to move around?
It's not hard to move around. You just got to make sure you wake up in time and jump in a taxi on the right point. It's hard to miss your family and friends sometimes.
That would also mean for your sense of direction, for your sense of, because you were saying you didn't have sometimes people work in a certain amount of time on an album.
Yeah.
And then it has some sort of cohesiveness.
Yeah.
So that's what I mean, is it hard to move around because your sense of direction can be lost sometimes?
Yeah, maybe, but I don't find it that frustrating or that hard. I think I'm surrounded by the right people to always feel a little bit at home, so it's fine.
It's nice to hear for them.
Was that sorry?
It's nice to hear for them that you always feel at home around them.
Yeah.
Playing live, you said, well, you really like to create. How important is playing live?
It's never been important to me until 3 years ago, I think. I've always made music in my bedroom thinking I really hope for people to listen to it, but I never thought about being a star on a stage or doing something on a stage. I never told my parents I want to be on a stage when I grow up or something like that. I was quite afraid of being on stage at first, to be honest, and yeah, for sure.
How did you manage to overcome that fear?
It just happened. I think I just got thrown on a stage in the middle of a big drum and bass rave, and I just got addicted to it, and I got used to it, and now I absolutely love it. It's a part of my life I couldn't give up. But yeah, I'm still learning so much to actually bring on a show, because I'm so used to just pressing play, which I was still doing a year ago. Like we only started with the band a year ago, and it's a very interesting learning curve for me to just to adjust myself and to actually do a performance instead of being a DJ.
Is there one thing that you've learned? Can you explain one thing that you've learned now?
Yeah, of course. There's loads of stuff. It's one of them, just playing with other people on the same stage and actually looking at each other and not just feeling the click vibe or like the tempo, but just looking at each other and having the same vibe going on and having the same movements and just everything playing together. It's such a big difference from just being on your own on a stage. And there's just so many important parts where you actually got to face the crowd instead of sipping from your drink on your DJ desk or holding out a record. It's much more important to actually get the attention when you're playing a solo or like when you're playing something important. You want it to look right. You want people to actually see that you're doing something, and that's something I learned a little bit now.
Can you imagine making an album with a band then?
Oh, but it's something that crossed my mind a couple of times the last year. But I love collaborating with people, but I love to be able to. I'm quite hard into like talking about stuff that has to be changed in music. I don't like when people say you've got to do that or that or that. When I'm in the music creating process, I want to finish something and show it to somebody, and then maybe change some stuff with the song. But I'm not good at working together in that way, I think, and it's something I should learn. But right now I couldn't do that.
How come? Because you're out of the flow then, or?
Yeah, kind of. I think a lot of musicians and producers, when they get thrown in one room, they try to impress us like each other. They try to overdo themselves a little bit, and it kind of takes me away from the most important part about the music, the real soulful vibe behind it. And yeah, I think I just try to impress people when I'm in the studio with them. That's the problem, I think.
What does your dad think of your music?
He pretends he loves it. I think he likes some of the music, but he's a super fan. He's 76 right now, so he's a bit older than your average dad for me. But he goes to a lot of gigs in Belgium with me, and yeah, he absolutely loves it. He's very proud and very supportive from the early beginning as well. Since I was 16 or 17, he really supported the idea of me wanting to stop doing uni, which I was doing at the time, and just try and start with a music career. And I'm so grateful to them for that.
It's really special.
Yeah, of course. It must have been very hard for them if I look back at it now, because I was so sure I wanted to do it, but I wasn't thinking about future because I was 17 or 18. So it must have been a hard step for them, but I owe it to them. They really let me loose and really trusted me a little bit. So.
Drum and bass is it for you right now, maybe forever. Can you imagine ever working something, maybe doing something in reggae?
Yeah. We actually play a reggae song tonight. Okay. I'm definitely not working on drum and bass only anymore. It's
sorry, I didn't know.
No, just in studio for the next album now. But it's something I grew up with, so I'll always have a love for drum and bass. I even like the old school, proper hard drum and bass still. But I think for myself, I just like to experiment with a lot of new stuff. And for the next record, there's going to be some disco on that, maybe some reggae, a lot of hip hop influences, some real soul music, and I just want to keep experimenting with that. I don't want to get stuck in this this little room where everybody expects you to make the same drum beat every time in the same tempo.
When will the album be released?
That's a good question. We hope to get it out like early next year, hopefully between February or March or something.
Who will be doing vocals?
Well, it's not going to be a surprise if I tell you now. We're working on a lot of very exciting projects with a lot of really cool people and some of my heroes. Also with some really cool guitar players, and I can't tell anything about it yet because I want it to be a surprise. But it's a very interesting album with a lot of influences from other genres, I think. So.
Belgian, mostly Belgian artists, but also
no Belgian artists so far. But I might work with some Belgian vocalists as well.
And how many different vocalists will you every track feature?
A couple. I can't say a number yet. I'd hate myself or blame myself if it's not the right number. So.
Thank you for your time.
No worries.
Thank you.
Thank you. Cool.
Thanks.
That's cool.
Yeah.